I I did a I Love Dawson's Creek did a tag, and it's called My Firsts, and I want to do them for you. Sundays I'm usually not. I usually leave to hang out with my brother, so I usually just want to like to do my videos on Sundays anymore. So let's want to try and get through this as quickly as possible. It's called the first tag, all the firsts. My first tweet. My first tweet was, I don't really tweet. I just put up my pictures on Twitter. So I do remember that, gosh, 2 or 3 years ago, I had put up a picture of me and my family on the 4th of July. We were going to a barbecue. My first YouTube video was an introduction video on Easter. Um, so yeah, first person you subscribed to on YouTube, it probably was Leisha X Sparkage. First Facebook profile pic. I guess just a picture from, back from 2 or 3 years ago. One of my, whatever nicest picture I thought I had. What was your first job? Oh, actually, when I was 16 years old, I started selling Avon. I've been into makeup. I used to play with my grandma's makeup at 5, and so I've been into makeup a long time. So yeah, I tried selling Avon at 16 years old. My first car, my father had like this 1970 Mustang, and he wanted a new car. He had it for a long time. And so I got my driver's license, so he gave it to me, but it like died within a year. It was just really old. Um, who was the first person you texted? I don't text. I don't have texting on my phone. I just don't understand why the extra expense. When all you gotta do is pick up the phone and call someone, or you're gonna email someone. Why texting? I just don't see the point. Um, who's the first person you thought of this morning? My husband. um, who was my first grade teacher? I don't remember her name, but I remember she was tall, skinny, had red hair, was kind of mean. But for some reason, she liked me. Where did you go on your first ride on an airplane to Puerto Rico? I was like, I think 4. I was either 4 or 5, because I think my sister, I might have even been 6, because I remember my sister being with us, and I think my mom was pregnant at the time with my brother. So I was probably 6 years old. And I just remember getting woken up at like 4 in the morning and going on a plane to Puerto Rico. That was my first airplane ride. Who was your first best friend, and do you still talk? My first best friend that I remember, it was probably in my preteen years. I remember her name was Linda. I think it was Linda Welsh. And she moved away her mother got remarried and moved away to a really nice neighborhood. And I think I visited her once, and we just never talked after that. Um, let's see. Where was your first sleepover? My parents were extremely strict. I was not allowed to go on any sleepovers. Okay, what was the first thing I did this morning? Went to the bathroom and brushed my teeth. Isn't that the first thing everyone does in the morning? What was the first concert I ever went to? My parents didn't let me go to concerts. I think as a young adult, I might have went to a Christian concert, and after I'd been married for 10 years, I went to an Amy Grant concert because she used to be like my favorite singer. And I think, so I guess a real concert would probably be that. First broken bone, I've never broken my bone. First piercing and only piercing was my ears. My mom pierced my ears when I was about 3 years old. She took me to a nurse, stuck the needle in, it was all over. Let's see. First foreign country you've gone to? I've never been to a foreign country. First movie I remember seeing, my father loved westerns, and he took us all to the movies to see a western, and I was like really young. I don't, you know, wasn't even paying attention. I was just sitting there with them as they watched it, but it was a Western. My first detention, my only detention. I don't know what happened. I know I hated school. It was in junior high school, and my teachers were, or the principal. I think it was the principal. It was it was for like a really stupid reason. I had a hall pass, and no, I asked for a hall pass, and the teacher said I didn't need one. And as I was going to the bathroom, I got in trouble because I didn't have a hall pass, and I was sent to detention. I was so mad that I threw my detention paper in the garbage and walked out, and that detention teacher had it in for me after that. My first roommate, oh my goodness, that's a horror story. I'll try to be really quick. It was my first time renting an apartment alone, but it was my father owned the building, so I was still a family. Like, my mother lived on the first floor, my grandmother on the second, and then I had the third floor. But I still couldn't afford the rent on my own because I was making minimum wage. So this lady from church said she would move in with me, and it was a nightmare. This woman made the pastor come over and slap a bunch of rules on me, and she went right after he left, she went ahead the 2 weeks that I lived with her and broke every single rule that she had him impose on me, and then left without paying me her half of the bills. And left would leave a mess I'd come home from work. She didn't even work. She was living off of some divorce settlement. They sold the house or something, and she would make a mess and leave the house. I mean, spill juice all over the floor, and leave. And I'd come home from work and have to clean that up, and have to cook dinner because she would leave. It was just a horror story. Then she went around and told everyone in the church that I was the one who did all these things to her, and moved in with another woman and did even worse to her. And then the other woman came to me and said, oh, she told me that you did all these bad things to her, and and I see that she did all these bad things to me. I mean, horror story. Okay, if you had one wish, what would it be? I don't just have one wish, but I guess right now the most important wish is my health, because my mother-in-law, who died of cancer, used to tell my husband, the most important thing is your health. The most important thing is your health. The most important thing is your health. Because as long as you're alive, there's always, hope for you. But you could be rich, you could be gorgeous, you could have all of these wonderful things and not be healthy and die and not enjoy it. So, I mean, I wish for a lot of things, a lot of goodness, but probably the most important thing right now is my health. I wish that I was healthier. What was your first sport? I was never into sports because I was never, ever, ever good at it. I would try handball, I would miss. Try tennis, I couldn't run across to catch the ball. Tried baseball, I couldn't hit the bat or run to base. I did try basketball, and I found that I was good at that, but I didn't like getting up at 6 a.m. to get to practice so early in the morning. So, and I tried badminton once, and I did really good. And the next, I couldn't move for a week because every muscle in my body was hurting. And I think it's 15 questions. The last one is, what is the first thing you do when you get home? My clothes come off and my pajamas go on. Immediately when I walk through that door, that is the first thing I have to do. If I'm at home, I'm in my jammies. Okay, so I was tagged by I Love Dawson's Creek. So if any one of you want to try this tag, I will copy the questions and post them below for you.